Hi, I'm Kathleen Short. I'm a wood turner. Welcome to my shop and my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to turn a pencil holder for my sister. I did one the last video, which was a shallow bowl. Today is going to be a slightly deeper bowl, and it's going to be made out of cedar. I'm first going to turn it between centers so I can make a foot that'll attach to a chuck so that I can turn the outside and the inside. Let's get started. I've used the compass to find where the middle of each end is, and I'm going to use this attachment at the head of the lathe. I'm going to use the live center on the foot chuck to hold it in place. Now that the piece is mounted, it looks fairly square on there. I will adjust my tool rest to get as close as possible to the piece of wood without actually catching in it. I've tightened all of my ends, and I'm going to start turning this round and creating a foot. Before I turn this piece, I'm going to put my mask on and my face shield. The mask I'm going to use because cedar is not a wood that I normally use. I'm not sure how powdery or how much dust it's going to create, and I don't want to inhale it. So I'm going to be using my mask, my face shield, and get started. This piece of cedar is softwood, and it cuts completely different than the hard maple I've been using. I'm going to sharpen my tool a little bit more. There's a lot of tear out, so I'm hoping with a sharper tool and a slower rate of going across that I can avoid some of this tear out. And the direction of my cut also may affect where this tear out is coming from. So rather than just going in one direction, I'll try coming in another direction and see if it ends up being a smoother cut. This is my 8-inch bench grinder. It's what I sharpen my tools on. This tool that I'm holding, I just removed it from my handle. And what I like to do is actually mark the tip with a marker so that when I grind away at it, I'll be able to see exactly what's been ground away. I'm just going to turn it on. I'm just going to turn it on. So the tool has been sharpened, and I grind it to a 45-degree angle. I have this handy little tool that actually lets me measure what 45 degrees is. And I've marked it so when I pick it up, I know exactly which indent I need to go to. I will then just put this back into my handle and start cutting. sharpened my tool and I've gone at a slightly slower pace across the tool rest to cut. There's still a bit of tear out, but it looks much better than it did before. Now I'm actually going to cut it in this direction and see if that makes any improvement. It actually looks a little bit better when I cut it coming this way. I'll be doing most of my cuts that way just to make a smoother finish. We have a big knot here that I'll be turning away. It doesn't seem to go too deep, and the foot is going to be on this side. So I'll be going in about 1/4 or 1/2 inch just to make sure that I avoid this part. It's always a good idea to check your piece of wood after a few passes with the gouge. You want to make sure that there aren't any internal cracks that could break your piece open. I've once had a piece explode on me and go flying all over the shop because there was a crack I didn't notice. So you always want to be sure that your piece is solid. The piece is mostly round now. There's still a lot of tear out, but we will fix that after. I'm going to turn the foot using my parting tool just to take this down about 1/4 inch down to 2 inches. Foot's been turned. I'm going to remove it from the centers and then attach it to the lathe using my one-way chuck. The bowl gouge left a little bit of tear out. Tear out is when the fibers of the wood get pulled back and leave quite a few indents. I'm going to try and smooth that out using this scraper. This scraper is great for the outside of a piece. So the first pass with the scraper removed quite a bit of the tear out. There's still a little bit left. I'm going to do a few more passes using this scraper, hopefully to get it smoother. If I can't get it any smoother, I'll just be doing a lot more sanding than I was hoping to do. The outside of the bowl has been smooth as much as I can do with both the bowl gouge and the scraper. Now I've removed the tail stock and I'm going to work on the inside of this pencil holder. I started hollowing the inside of the bowl, but the tool I want to use won't work at this stage. So I'm going to use this homemade tool that my friend made for me. It'll help me hollow out the middle and go deep enough that I can then use my square scraper. Most of the tools I use cut at center, but with this scraper, I actually have to raise the tool rest so that it's higher when I do the inside. And that will get a much better cut. Otherwise, if it's too low, it won't cut at all. The outside still needs to be sanded, and I've turned the inside as much as I can. But you can see there's still quite a bit of tear out, and no matter how much sanding I do, I won't be able to remove all of it. I've decided to finish the inside with a different technique called flocking. It's like adding a coat of powder that looks like suede. It'll be really interesting. Earlier I mentioned checking your piece for cracks that might show up when you're turning. This crack right here showed up when I was sanding. It's not a very deep crack, but it's something, if I was still turning this piece, that I would monitor to make sure that it doesn't get wider. I'm not worried about it now. Once I put the oil on and the flocking on the inside, it'll be fine. The piece is now secured to the coal jaws. The rubber knobs are on the outside, holding it tight and secure. I'm going to turn off the bottom, putting a little bit of a concave on the inside so it sits flat on a smooth surface. And then we can start with the flocking. But first, a quick sanding of the bottom to get it nice and smooth, and then we're done. I have turned the foot off. We're now going to flock the inside. And flocking is really easy. It looks complicated once it's finished, but it isn't. So here are the pieces that I need to do the flocking. The kit comes with glue and powder. You can have different colors. I chose red. It's very, very fine powder. And then there's this simple spray-on suede applicator. So I'm going to coat the inside of the bowl with the glue, and then I'm actually going to blow this into the glue. So you'll see how that all adheres together. Let's start. I've had this kit for a long, long time. I'm hoping the glue is still usable. It's pretty thick, but that's okay. Once there's a good coating of glue, and the glue is colored the same color as the felt powder, you can then just flock it. So right now in here I do have some of the red powder, and this is how you flock. It does get very powdery and red dust everywhere, but doing it this way will make the powder adhere to the glue, and it'll give it almost like a suede felty look. I'm just going to pour some of that out. I don't know if you can see the insides, but it gives it a nice finish when you can't get the tear out. It hides a multitude of sins. The inside of the pencil holder has been drying for the last 20 hours or so. It should dry between 10 and 15 hours. That's what it looks like. After the drying time, you can just tip it over, knock out the excess powder, which can be reused the next time you do some flocking. I Don't know if you can see how pretty that looks in there. But it gives it a much nicer finish than just tear out wood. The glue stained the sides a little bit. I have some red marks. I'm going to use 1000 and 2000 grit sandpaper and hopefully clean that up. I use a burning kit to sign the piece and to mark what type of wood it is. Sometimes the texture of the wood makes writing on it, either with the pen or with the burning tool, hard to do. And you don't always get the straight lines that you want. I like to burn them. I like the smell, and it leaves longer lasting impression in the wood. I have to make sure not to get any on the inside of the bowl. You don't want to ruin the appearance of the flocking. I did remove most of the red stain from the lid or the edge of the container. Now, cedar is very soft wood. It dents really easy. So you have to be careful when you're working with it, that it doesn't hit anything, or else you'll get dents and grooves in it. How pretty that's starting to look. Here's my sister's second pencil holder. It's flocked on the inside and finished with 3 coats of oil on the outside. I then buffed it with Tripoli and then polished it with carnauba wax to give it its shine. I hope you enjoyed this turning video. Please let me know. You can leave your comments and questions and I'll be sure to answer. I hope you'll join me again in my shop.
Let me start again.
Oh. Hi, I'm Kathleen Short and I'm a wood turner. Welcome to my shop and my studio. I don't have a studio, I have a garage. Cedar, you can really smell it in the shop right now. And I'm going to be, okay, oh, it's possible. When it's turning on the lathe, you want to avoid having too much excess. A live end, and I don't know what I'm going to use. Never mind. Today I'm going to turn my sister. I'm not going to turn my sister. I'm going to turn for my sister. For the inside, I have to put the tool west. I have to secure, and I will just turn off the turn out. Okay. How bad is that? Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm a wood turner? No. Yes, I am a wood turner, but this is not how I want to start. And today we're going to do a pencil holder. Hi, I'm Kathleen Short, and welcome to my shop. Stop it. My husband's making fun of me. Hi. Or her erasers. I'm not sure. Django, stop it.
Shallow dishes.
Colin, what?
What kind of shallow dishes?
It's made out of maple. Stop shaking your head. I'll use the tripod.
Go ahead.